Hello, my name is Umar Sama. I'll be presenting about airflow bench, Bernoulli's equation. Introduction. This experiment is conducted to understand the continuity equation, which is the statement of concentration of mass in the pipeline. Through this study, we apply the concepts of Bernoulli's law, where it is pertaining to a flow streamline based on three assumptions, which are steady flow, incompressible fluid, and no losses from fluid friction. The validity of Bernoulli's equation will be examined in this experiment, where pressure measurement will be conducted with the Brandt-Whitley tube. Theory. Using the multi-tube manometer 16-fold for airflow bench, we can understand about the different types of pressures, such as ATM pressure of air, P0 hydrostatic pressure, P-stat, and dynamic pressure, impact pressure, which is pressure at room temperature. These pressures have the following equations as shown here. Also, this all comes together to form the Bernoulli's equations for stationary flow as shown below. The equation shows that the total energy of particle of fluid flowing along the streamline remains constant. In the case of gases, the piezometric pressure becomes practically irrelevant due to low density. Therefore, it forms this formula. And the whole expression becomes the total pressure, as shown here. Using the airflow bench, the multiple manometers is used to measure the speed of the flowing air. The equation for impact pressure differential is as below. A measure for the difference between the flow speeds is the difference between the water levels. At measuring point 2 of the experimentation stand, the flow speed of the air, which is V2, can be expressed in this formula. Procedure. Apparatus is used, a mobile rolling frame with a bench top, a radial fan 0.55 kilowatts, switch box and drawer for small parts, air intake pipe with throttle valves and thermometer, a rectifier, removable nozzle, funnel for air inlet, off-air pipe, fixture for 16-fold water pressure gauge, measuring glands for measuring tubes. Steps to follow. Step 1. The rolling frame was fixed in position on an even surface by arresting the rollers. The air pipe must be at minimum 2-meter distance from a wall. Step 2. The transportation protection of the air intake on the top of the frame was unscrewed. Step 3. The rectifier was mounted on a frame and screwed down. The nozzle was attached in the down fixtures on the rectifier if necessary. Then the throttle valve was set to open. Step 4. Power supply was connected. Step 5. The radial fan was switched on. Step 6. The emergency off was pulled off. The main switch to EM/on be set and the button was pressed. The precision regulator was used to adjust the wind speed in the measurement section. Step 7 and the last one. In order to shut down, button 0 was pressed down and main switch was set to as off. The power to the system was disconnected. Now this slide will be showing the results we got. So in table 1, the results of the experiment conducted is shown, and in figure 1, the velocity mass flow rate versus y, and which is the answer to question 3. The chart shows the velocity mass flow rate, and figure 2 shows the pressure versus y, which is the answer for question 4. So answer for first question. For Bernoulli's equation to remain valid, the properties of the fluid cannot be changed over time and the flow of the fluid must be steady. Another assumption is that the fluid must be incompressible and the friction force in the experiment must be negligible. Question 2. Based on the velocity versus height graph, the static pressure and dynamic pressure varies according to the height. The highest velocity was recorded to be between 50 mm to 150 mm. This proves that the dynamic pressure between the areas should be greater, therefore the experiment complies with Bernoulli's equation. Conclusion. In the experiment, the main objective were to study continuity equation, to apply the Bernoulli's law, and to conclude pressure measurements with Prandtl tube. These objectives were fulfilled through the experiments as proved by the results, but in the results some errors play a role, such as human error and zero error. These errors were avoided by conducting the experiments 3 times and taking the average. Thank you very much.